Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for joining me. Now today I'm doing a project for Gerda Steiner Designs, and I'm going to be using this cute little stamp set. It's perfect for Halloween. It's called Bats. I love the little happy bats in here, and the little spider is just too cute. Now I have the coordinating dies here, and I want to show you that Gerda Steiner Designs stamp dies come on a magnetic sheet, which is so wonderful, and they're separated for you, so you don't have to worry about clipping them apart and getting hurt with those little pokies that you have to clip off and they fly all over your craft room. So that's the stamp set we're going to use today. We're going to jump in and get started. I have a piece of Neenah 80-pound cardstock here, and I'm going to grab my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. We're going to color in our images with Copic markers, and so Memento and Neenah are both Copic friendly. So I grabbed both the little bats here that have their wings open. I thought they were so cute, and the little happy faces on there just make me smile. I've said this before, but I'm not a real scary Halloween person. I'm more of a cutesy Halloween, and so these were just perfect. Once my images are stamped, I am going to color them in with my Copic markers. I left the caps out for you guys and the coloring. I'm going to play a little bit of music while I color, and I will catch you back as soon as I'm done coloring. Okay, coloring is all done. I did brighten up his little teeth with my white gel pen, but as I was looking at it, I thought maybe I need to add a little bit more definition to the bottom little bat's face. So I'm just using the same Copics that I used to color him in and doing a little bit of extra shading down there at the bottom, just to make him stand out a little bit more. Lovely. Okay, once my images are all finished, I'm going to take the coordinating dies, and I'm just going to place them over my images, tape them down, and we will run those through our die cut machine. And they die cut beautifully. Now we're going to set these aside, and we are going to work on our background. Now for my background, I'm going to grab a piece of Canson XL Watercolor Cardstock. Now I'm going to trim it down using a stitched rectangle die. This die is going to cut out a panel that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now I grabbed just one of my my plates for my Big Shot. It was a new one, and I hadn't used it yet, so I thought it'd be perfect to do a little bit of masking on. So I'm actually going to mask off about a 1/2 inch off of the edges of my panel here, and I'm going to use some Nuvo Shimmer powders. These are so cool. I just sprayed my panel with some water, and I'm just sprinkling on the storm cloud here. And then just to add a little bit of color, I'm going to go in with the cherry bomb, and it's going to create a real fun purple. The cherry bomb mixed with the storm cloud create a real neat effect, and I thought it'd be a great background for a Halloween card. Now just to blend it a bit more, I'm going to add one more spray of water over the top. And I use my heat gun to dry it just for time purposes. But I'll remove my masking tape off the edges, and so I have a frame here and the background. I think that looks so cool. I think this would make a great galaxy background too. Okay, we're going to set that aside, and now I'm going to use a circle die and cut out a piece of vellum here. Since that background was pretty bold, I need something to soften it, so vellum works great. I'm just going to trim off a little bit off the edge here so it doesn't overhang on my panel. And then this way I have a place to stamp my sentiment and also my little bats. I'm just going to kind of arrange how I want my little scene to go. And then we're going to grab our stamp set, and I'm going to use the sentiment that it's two parts. I'm going to use the first part that says, "I bat you don't know," which is so cute. I use my anti-static powder tool over my vellum, and I'm going to ink up my sentiment with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And we'll just go ahead and stamp that. I'm going to grab my clear embossing powder, and we're going to go over our sentiment. And then using my heat gun, we'll go ahead and melt that. I'm just going to let it heat up for just a minute. That way it doesn't warp my vellum. Okay, lovely. Now I'm going to add some foam squares behind my little bats, and we're going to place them on top of the vellum. Just making sure it's straight there. And then we'll add our second one. And then we're going to flip our vellum piece over and use some foam squares on the same exact places that we put them behind the bats. It's kind of sandwiching the vellum between the little foam squares. And then we'll remove the release paper and add this to our panel. This is going to give it a little bit of dimension. Lovely. Okay, now before we do anything else, we're going to do work on the inside of our sentiment. So I'm going to grab my card base. I chose a black card base today. Whenever I do use black card bases, I have a white gel pen that it's a uniball gel pen, and it works perfect for writing sentiments on the inside. But I grabbed the sentiment here. It's adorable, and it says, ... how much I miss you. Most of my family lives in California. I'm quite a ways away, so I make a lot of miss you cards. So, sister, if you're watching, I miss you. But I'm going over my inside of my card base with my anti-static powder tool, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Now this sentiment is customizable. You could put how much I miss you, or how much I love you, or you could put how much you are appreciated. So that's pretty neat. I like that. I'm going to go over my sentiment, and you can see I did stamp the silhouettes of the bats just for a little bit of interest here. I went over it with some white embossing powder, and I went ahead and melted it, and then just using my hand I rubbed off that embossing powder, or the anti-static powder tool. Anti-static powder. There we go. Okay, I'm going to tape down my panel in the center of my card base. It's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Now we need some bells and whistles, so I'm going to grab some purple sequins. These are a purple iridescent that I just had for a while, and I thought they'd go good with that background. And using my glue, I'm going to kind of dot where I want my sequins to go, and then I'll just pick them up and place them on my panel. Now what I like to do for my little bat's eyes is create my little own eyeballs, and so I'm taking 2 Nuvo crystal drops. This is Simply White, I believe, and I'm dotting them over the eyes, kind of keeping them separate because when the Nuvo drops combine, it doesn't look as well. Now, once I have my white ones down, I'm going to just add little dots of black, creating some 3-dimensional eyes. I love to do this on my little characters, and it's so fun. Almost like googly eyes, but I think they're cuter. So that's my card for today. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. Links will be below in the description area in case you're interested. But have a fantastic day, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.